Alright, this is going to be the final part to the cliffs of Moher. I was actually upset because we had to leave, and things were starting to clear up on the horizon, which was really nice because you could start seeing the mountains behind the mountains. Um, so in some of this, I'm going to definitely change the contrast and the brightness and the saturation. Actually, in a couple parts, I took full contrast at 100%. Contrast and minus 100% on the saturation, and around 50% I think on the light I cut back, just to really bring in some of the detail that was in some of the farther back islands here, or the mountain ranges that you could see, and even up where the clouds are. Later on in some of this video, I think that there's mountains still visible back there, because on some of my pictures I was able to clean them up better, because I had a program where I could put some clarity to it and make them a little more clear and get rid of a lot of that haze. And I'm going to share some of the pictures too at the end of the video. Because I think it's important to show some of the pictures too that I cleaned up. Some didn't come out as good as I wanted them to, so I deleted some of those, and some of the ones that did come out pretty good, I left those, of course. But you can look here and see the water smashing up against these cliffs that are quite a distance from me to begin with. Now, I'm not really familiar with Ireland at all, so maybe somebody from that area knows more about these mountain ranges behind, or that are in the far off distance, to give me a good idea of how far actually they are that I'm zooming in some of these homes too, because some of the houses I can see. And what's really funny is if you try to consider somebody walking out one of the doorways of one of these houses, would the camera even be able to resolve them? I mean, I wasn't really able to get any people walking around, even in the boat. A couple boats that are in here, or one boat at least. You can't, you can't see anybody on it. But I'm just curious, if somebody walked out of one of these doorways, would my camera be able to resolve them? And we'd be able to see them walking around. Maybe that's why you don't really see anybody. Either that, or everybody's hiding in the houses because it's so hot. But now remember, a lot of these homes, they don't have air conditioning. Actually, one of the hotels we stayed at didn't have air conditioning, which I thought was strange, but it wasn't really hot in the rooms. So that wasn't too bad. But a lot of them did have AC. But even here, you can see the water behind these houses. And the reason I know it's water is because there's mountains farther behind it, or farther above it. And there's part of one right there. Should have zoomed in a little more on this area right here. And maybe I do. But again, I had no idea what I was zooming in on out there. So I was just zooming all around, trying to get as much in as I could, because I knew our time was limited there. We were only able to stay there about 45 minutes is all I got for filming and taking pictures. But like I said, this last part, the horizon started clearing up. Some of the fog was lifting, or some of the haze was lifting. So I was able to get a little better detail in some of the video. And like I said, some of the pictures came out even better. So just take a look around. Like I said, if anybody's from Ireland and they've been there to the Cliffs of Moher, You know, we were told that we had a really good day because of the fact that um, usually there's a lot more haze there during this time of the year because it's a little more rainy, a little colder, but you know, more rain in the forecast. And when we first got there, we got a little bit of rain, but other than that, it didn't rain the rest of the time we were there. Um, so I felt like I did bring the Florida weather with me when I went there. Like I said, I was expecting it to be cold, brought jackets, and I should have brought shorts instead of jeans and heavy shirts. Um, but what a very beautiful country. The other thing I want to say is I got a bunch of footage of a lot of chemtrails in Ireland, and hopefully I'll be able to share them too. But oh my God, I mean, I just seen chemtrail after chemtrail after chemtrail, and I feel sorry for the people of Ireland if they're dealing with that. Now here's some footage that I got. That right here is where I changed the contrast and the saturation quite a bit to try to highlight this better and you know, cut through some of that haze. Like I said, I got about 100% contrast, 0% saturation. And could you imagine somebody trying to walk out of one of these houses here? Would you be able to even see them? I doubt it. So I mean, I have to be zoomed out quite a long distance here to catch some of these houses that are out there. And this is full zoom with the Coolpix P900. So again, you know, I'm just curious of how far these other mountain ranges are that are farther back and farther behind these houses. I mean, you see this big mountain going up behind them, um, and when I zoom back, you can see even some mountain ranges behind these mountain ranges, which is actually awesome. So I know I'm zooming some distance, and we're seeing quite a few miles. You know, maybe 20, 30, 40. I'm not sure. Again, I looked at Google Earth, and I really wasn't able to quite find uh, some of these mountain ranges beyond this first set of mountains. Um, so, so maybe I just need to dig in there a little further and search around a little bit better. But I actually hate Google Earth because I think that there's something wrong with the distance of the waters. You know, that's where I think that they're hiding something. But look at there, you got a mountain range, and I even think there's even a mountain range farther back there that the clouds and the haze is still hiding. In some of the pictures, I think you can see it a little bit better. But you know, what looks like clouds, I think, are also mixed in there. There's some other mountain ranges back behind this big mountain range. Um, Again, you know, somebody that's more familiar with the area from Ireland, maybe they can give me you know, a better idea of what mountain ranges these are. Um, I could actually show them where I'm at on Google Earth because there was actually um, a picture there with the same rock point that sticks up here shortly in the video. You'll see it. So somebody else took a picture pretty close to the same area that I was at because it looks very similar, very close to the same location. When uh, you know, checking out Google Earth, there's a you know, couple places where you can hit pictures that people have taken, and you know, it pops up with the picture. So I know I'm right in that general vicinity, um, but I mean, I'm just amazed with the zoom power and the clarity on some of this when I brought up the contrast and you know, this took away the saturation. How much clarity I got out of this. I mean, look at this. This is absolutely wonderful. Um, and the distance is just beyond my belief. I never thought I could get something this far away with this much clarity. Um, Like I said, of course, I'm up high on a cliff, but still, look at the distance on that. Now, I go back to pretty much the regular video that I got. I don't think I did anything to this part of the video. Um, so you can actually see the haze that I was able to cut through with some of that, um, playing around with the contrast and the saturation. But this was pretty nice right here, um, and this was the area that I said I found pretty close or pretty similar. Not this part, but here shortly you'll see it. Um, be quiet, Ruby. The dog's sitting here, all worried about if it's going to storm or not. This rock face right here, out this tall little island, little tower of rock, pretty awesome. Um, so I found a place, like I said, on Google Earth where I clicked on it and it had this same thing in there. Um, so I know I'm really close to that area. There ain't too many areas where you could get where you could catch that the way I did. Now I go back to cutting out all the saturation and this contrast. Little bug crawl across my screen. I think it was an ant. Had some ants for some reason were crawling up my tripod while I was there. But look at that mountain range. And you can see farther back there more mountains. And like I said, I think that there was more mountains back there blended in with the clouds. And you can really kind of make them out because those aren't clouds. That's why I darkened it up so much. Um, but this was actually awesome. And when you compare this to the original video, like I said, I left a little bit in there to where you could see. This really highlighted the farther distant horizon. And I even think that right back in there was some mountains, still some mountains farther back there. And even right there above that little strip, there's some. And I even think there's something even farther back here. But I can't clean it up, but only so much. Like I said, I'm going to put some of my pictures in that I took. And I cleaned them up too on this. But I have a feeling that there was stuff back there, but I didn't get, I kind of had a hard time focusing because, like I said, I had the sun right behind me, and then my viewing screen, it was just blaring away. So I had a hard time really seeing when I was actually focused in or not. Then what I was trying to do here was kind of show where you can see these swells. Um, you know, but the farther back, the swells get choppier, 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 almost to the point where they're so chopped up that you really can't make them out. And they're much more gathered up because of perspective, of course. And this is where we start getting the mirroring farther out there. Things start mirroring. But I didn't have a lot of mirroring out here on this, or at least I didn't detect it. And I think it's because I was so high up that I was getting such a good distant view. And then, of course, you had that haze farther out in the distance that was cutting me off. That makes a big difference, too. So I haven't really quite picked out the pictures I want to put on here yet, so I'm going to pause my audio here for a second and get some pictures put up here so I can share them too. All right, and I also want to say thanks and I appreciate everybody watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I definitely did while I was there on this cliff right here. The only thing was I did have some people that kind of got in my way and got real close to me, and being that I was closer to this edge than I wanted to be, I was a little nervous that somebody's going to bump me off. All right, hang on, I'll get these pictures set up. Okay, you may want to pause on some of these to take a little better look. That's up to you. But they're going to go through here quite fast. Some, like I said, I highlighted with some clarity and some other filters to bring out, like I say, some of the background, some of the farther distant um, mountain ranges is really what I was trying to see was what was farthest back there in the horizon. All right, so like I said, take a look, pause it if you like, but I'm just going to let it finish up the video um, silently here. And again, just like to say thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. All right, have a good one. Hope you enjoyed.